So here we're going to go over querying and transforming the data. So obviously before we do anything, first we need to get all the data into the Power BI, and we do this through the query editor. We could get the data in a couple of ways actually. First way, we could go within the Power BI model, you could go into the ribbon and go to get data. You get all the options that you get in the query editor, like so. So there are Excel files, text files, XML, JSON, folder, um, SaaS applications, databases. There's almost 200 different sources of ways to get the data, and there's always more being added by Microsoft. But what we can recommend here is always go to the query editor, which is via the edit queries icon on the ribbon. The reason why we should do this is because data is never perfect. It's never in the optimal shape that we want it when we first get it. There's always some shape of cleaning or transforming that we need to do before we can get it ready for the data model. And we can't do that if we get the data directly from the front end canvas area. So you want to be doing it in the back end through the query editor, which is a very powerful tool to do this. So first you could see what you were querying and make sure that all your data is optimized for Power BI, and then you want to commit it onto the model. So when you are trying to query that, so you're not actually querying the data, you are more of taking a snapshot. Think of it as a screen grab of your raw data, whether it's from Excel or from the other. And from that screen grab, you could make your transformation and filter out all your data. You could merge it, query it, change column titles, column types. There's many different things you could do. And we'll go over a few of these during this example course. Now, the first thing you got to do is query the data. So in this case, we're going to try to keep it very simple. So we're going to stick some data in Excel. And to be honest, this is where you probably like to do it a lot in real life. Excel is a great way to stage data. And a lot of the time when you're coming from an Excel background, you already have the experience and the know-how to use Excel, um, and that's what I would recommend. So it's good to manage the data in Excel and then manage it from there and then transfer it over to Excel. So this is what we'll do. So first you go to Excel, you go to the navigator box, and this is where you could actually preview the data that you bring in. And as you go over the data, you'll know what these are. These are the tabs within Excel. But the key difference here is that we have tables and we have worksheets. Now, I'll recommend if you're staging data in Excel to always put it into a table because what Power BI tries to do, it tries to query the entire worksheet and it guesses where the data ranges are. And most of the time it guesses correctly, but sometimes it does not. And so you want to cut out any of that errors and those problems. So it would be much more better to just put it into a table and then you can make sure that uh, Power BI will only create the range of the data that you have set out within the table within Excel. Now, let's actually bring in some data here. So we're going to bring in all our sales information. So as mentioned earlier, our sales are broken up into different tables over 3 different years. So this is not optimized for Power BI. So we're going to actually bring it in and merge those tables and bring them all together. So that we're going to dive into as some of the things we can do in the query editor. We're going to grab our customer data table, our product table, and our salespeople data. So let's now just select these. And so we'll get these data and then we press OK. And so what's that going to do? That's going to bring all of those queries and tables from our queries into this query editor where we can make further changes. The first thing I always do when I come in here, I make sure that everything is named correctly. So I'm just going to do that here. I don't like any underscores. I don't like anything with capitals. I try to clean up the data as much as I can. And there's many reasons to do this. Uh, yeah, so now the thing I don't need to change here is these things here. Because what we're going to do is we're not going to use these tables per se. We're going to create one main table from these. It's not a difficult operation, but essentially what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to append these queries on top of each other.